Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe, and this is our first episode. And I'm excited because I thought, what better person to choose for my first episode than a person who spends his life vlogging on video. And since this is my first attempt at dipping my toe in the world of episodic vlogging or doing video podcasting, however you choose to see it, I thought who better to bring in than someone who's already comfortable on video. So I don't have to worry about you, just worry about me. So my guest is Clintus McGintus. He's a full-time vlogger, a full-time YouTuber, and he does a bunch of different things. And we're going to talk about that today because those of you who know me know that I talk about business and entrepreneurship and wellness and personal development, and I do a lot of things. So we're going to get into some nitty gritty of what really is going on here with this guy. So my guest today, Clintus McGintus. Clintus, thank you so much for being my first guest, and thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Very excited.
Well, okay. So as you know, this is twoquestions.tv, brief conversations, deep knowledge. And so that means I only get two questions, and I'm a little verbose, so this is a challenge for me. So my questions are compound questions, which means I'm going to ask you only two, but they are multi-part. So my first question is really about your business model. So I spent a little time looking at your different platforms and kind of assessing like, okay, well, how does this guy make a living, right? So those of us who, I'm an executive coach, so I spend most of my days talking to actual clients, doing, work. So when we think about like what you do, it's a different model. It's a different way of thinking about work. And so I really was curious if maybe you could kind of give a rundown of your business model, if you don't mind, how you make a living, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Basically ad revenue is the main source of my income. So my YouTube channel is my main source of income. It pays all the bills and is what kind of fuels what we do in life. I've been making YouTube videos for almost 11 years total, but daily life vlogging for over 5. And it was when I started doing the daily vlogs when things started kind of upticking. And of course, YouTube was still in its infancy stage and still like evolving. And when I started making videos, there was no ad revenue, like literally no ads. There was no money to be made. You just did this because it was a place for you to share your thoughts and your ideas and your, whatever, right? Cat videos and whatnot. And so it was 5.5 years ago when daily vlogging started becoming a thing. And the ad revenue model was starting to bubble up a little bit. You had people like Shay Carl and Charles Trippy and a lot of these famous YouTubers that had other channels, but then they started doing the daily vlogs. So ad revenue was like the earliest form of income, right? You'd see an ad that showed up before a video or a little banner ad that would show up on top of a video, that sort of thing. So the ad revenue is my main portion. Now, of course, hot topic in the news right now is the demonetization of YouTube or the lack of the ad apocalypse, or whatever. So we definitely are feeling that. Numbers are not what they were last year or even prior to that, even though our channel is much larger. We're definitely seeing the impact on the changes there. Other forms of income, we do sponsored videos where we'll do maybe a shout out for a product or a brand, or we'll do a completely dedicated video with it's an additional video on our channel outside of our daily vlog that is 100% dedicated to a brand and their product or service. Sometimes they'll fly us out to a location or event to, do our vlogging at that location. And so it's like an integration that way. Shout outs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that sort of thing. But then I also, for the last couple of years, started really focusing on live streaming and specifically with video gaming. So I would do a little bit on twitch.tv. I would do a little bit on YouTube. When YouTube gaming launched, I started really focusing on that, thinking, okay, YouTube's version of Twitch and different vertical, different medium, if you will. And started making a little bit of income there. But ultimately, after about 18 months on YouTube gaming, decided to go to Twitch and kind of go all in. Multiple reasons, but short and sweet, diversity was one of them. Kind of not having all my eggs in one basket with YouTube.
Yeah.
Amazon owns Twitch, Google owns YouTube. So this way my income revenue streams are coming from 2 different companies and not just one. So I've been a partner over on Twitch for about 4.5 months or so, and things are going really well. My community that moved over with me are very happy with the platform. And so the model over there is ad revenue, but it's a much smaller piece of the pie and it's a flat rate. Whereas YouTube CPMs can vary. Twitch is just a flat rate for everyone. I make my income from tips and from subscriptions. So with Twitch, people can subscribe to my channel. It unlocks different features and additional features, removes the ads for them specifically, so they don't have to see an ad when an ad runs. And so it's much more of I'm kind of in control of my own destiny, if you will, because if I'm providing entertainment, I'm providing some kind of value while I'm live, then they opt in saying, oh, I like what you're doing. Here's $5, or, here's $10, or, I'm gonna hit that subscribe button. Give me those extra features to enhance my experience here with you. And so that is a very small portion. I mean, like I said, my main channel, my YouTube channel still pays a majority of the bills. But at this point, the Twitch is kind of paying for my business expenses because I do have an LLC wrapped around my what I do with YouTube and whatnot.
Good.
Protection, yeah, protection as well as tax purposes. The benefits of having a S corp / LLC, that sort of thing. And I have a lawyer, I have an accountant, I have the whole 9 yards. So this is a full-fledged business for me, absolutely.
And so when you talk about sponsored videos, a part of me wants to ask another question, but I'm not really allowed. I have a sub question. No, but I think when you talk about sponsored videos, I saw a video that you did, a vlog not that long ago, where you were talking to some of the people who were complaining because you did a sponsored video, and some people were saying, "Oh, you're a sellout" and all that, and you were saying, "No, this is how I pay the bills. This isn't a free ride here. I got to make some money, and I've got a family to feed. You know them." And so I thought about that in the kind, and I haven't really dug into your comments. Really, that was the one area that I really haven't done super deep research. I can only stalk somebody so much. So I did, though. It made me thoughtful with respect to some of my mommy blogger clients and friends. Talk a lot about issues of privacy, and they're thoughtful about okay, well, I don't want my kid to be on camera, or my kid shouldn't, I don't want to make that choice for my kid, but I noticed your kids have really grown up on your vlog. I mean, you've been like almost 2,000 days now you've been vlogging, and so I don't think your son was exactly born on the vlog, but practically. So like they were like the next ones to know. So I imagine that there's a certain amount of protection that you need to engage in with your kids and keeping them safe, as well as sort of protecting their mental well-being, as well as yours and your wife's, right? Like there are haters out there, and there are people who say unkind things. And I know from this experience of thinking about, do I want to do a vlog? Do I want to do a video podcast? What do I want to do now that I've decided to do video? There's a certain amount, even no matter how confident you are, no matter how much you have kind of done the inner work, there's a certain amount of trepidation that goes into jumping into video and thinking, people are going to say things about me. People are going to judge me. People are going to look at my hair. People, they notice you, get your haircuts and, all these things. And so I think, I guess, can you talk a little bit about how you kind of look after your family and your own well-being in terms of that kind of stuff, as well as how you protect your family from, this whole experience that you've chosen to kind of open your life up?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, I've been doing this a long time. So it's kind of been a slow and steady growth. You look at our numbers on our channel and you're like, wow, it's impressive. Over 600,000 subscribers and over 30 million views, or I don't even know where we're at actually. But you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, wow, he's a big YouTuber. He's famous. And the reality is we're not. I mean, we go to the supermarket and we can walk around in public and we'll go to an event and we'll get recognized maybe once or twice, especially events that we've been to before, like Monster Jam, Supercross, anything like that, where it's a reoccurring event that we go to on a regular basis. Cardinals games here locally in Arizona. We get recognized, once or twice here and there. And we do get recognized in public at the grocery store every once in a while, but we're definitely not at that level of famous where we literally have to maybe like get a security guard or have to, we're not there. We're definitely not there. And I don't think we ever will, to be honest with you. My kids are older, 12 and 10 at the moment. And, a lot of up and coming YouTubers have much smaller kids. So it's kind of like their family's just now growing with the YouTube channel. Whereas mine did, but it was, 6-8 years ago.
Right.
To your point, my son was born on the channel. When I started, my daughter was 2.5, and my son wasn't born yet. And his birth, the night at the hospital, walking around, my wife's walking around with the IV and trying to do the walking. As soon as he's born, there was a clip of him being wiped down. I mean, there's a butt naked baby right there. And then the whole night at the hospital, the next day when Sierra meets him for the first time, like, that captured that whole moment. That's on there. Cause I haven't been doing this long, but when I started the channel, again, the online safety thoughts weren't there. Back then people didn't use their real names. Everyone had email addresses like coolavenger76 at yahoo.com. Like there was no personal brand. And I think it was like 2008, 2009, maybe 2010 is when people started doing more personal branding. Guys like Gary Vaynerchuk really kind of put that down there. They started using their real names, and then YouTubers started doing the same thing. People use their real names for the most part now. They'll come up with some kind of clever family name, but for the most part, their real names are out there. So it's one of those things where, for me, in the last decade, I've kind of always separated personal with business when it came to everything except for what I showed you, right? What I showed you is real. This is real. This is my kids. Their names are Sierra and Bryce and Tiffany, and it's real. And our demographic has always been more of a younger kid demographic. So, it's one of those things where there's always a possibility of somebody, find out where we live and find out the personal information about us. There's nothing you can do about that. You can try to take so many precautions, but there's always legally a way for you to figure out, connect the dots and that sort of thing. So it's just one of those things where, my kids are savvy enough to know certain things to be on the lookout for, certain things that we don't share. My daughter has a channel now, and so she's making her own YouTube video. She just had her 1-year anniversary. She has a Twitter and an Instagram that's public, but it was private for like 6 months prior to that. So she got to kind of feel for the platform and, before it went public. I manage all that stuff. So I filter the worst. But I showed her comments before we got this thing started. I said, these are some of the comments you might run into. These are the kind of the people that are going to find your videos and potentially could, rain on your parade. You put all the time and energy into this video. You're all happy about it. And they come out and say, you suck, or you're ugly. Like, you got to be ready for that. And are you sure that's something you want to do? So I think the biggest thing has just been teaching them along the way. Because again, they did grow up with this. They know nothing different. Me walking around with a camera, me turning the camera on to them and asking them a question. It's nothing new. It's literally what they've been raised with. Granted, with that being said, my daughter's 12, going to be 13 this year. And she is the YouTuber of the two. Like, my son really has no desire to have a channel or doing that sort of thing. I've always said, if tomorrow they said, what, Dad, no, not today, no camera today. I don't really want to talk to the camera. It's that simple. The camera just turns off. The camera turns away. It's called Clintus TV because I'm the one who started it, and I'm the main camera holder. I'm the main vlogger. I'm the vlogger, right? My wife is not the vlogger. My kids aren't the vloggers. Right. They're part of my life. At this moment in time, I'm a dad, and people always ask, well, what are you gonna do when the kids grow up? And my short answer is, I'm gonna do what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna keep vlogging. I'll never stop vlogging. I might stop daily someday, but I'll probably never stop vlogging. I'm always going to create content because I love it. I still enjoy it. And so it'll just continue on doing what they're doing. And the channel will evolve. Once again, it's evolved over the years. It'll evolve again and do whatever it is that I'm doing, 5, 10, 20 years from now.
Awesome. And I have noticed there are times when I noticed there was one video where you were out with your son and you said something like, what kind of ice cream do you have? And he's like, they don't need to know. And I thought, that is so honest and so authentic. What a great kid. Yeah. Great. Well, those are my 2 questions. That's all I'm allowed. I could totally talk to you for a lot longer. I mean, there are so many questions that I want to ask you about content and storytelling. And yeah, so I'd love to have you come back. Would you come back? Absolutely. Anytime. Awesome. Then let's plan for you to come back and talk about storytelling because you are fantastic at that.
Sounds good. My pleasure.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.